Hey, so I got in trouble. This is the 13th episode, and my wife, Rebecca, just watched a lot of the previous episodes. So this will be my last episode. Just kidding. She did give me some feedback. These videos are way too long. They're kind of boring, and I just laughed, and she was nice about it. So she did have some good pointers. I listened to all of them, but I'll choose to follow some of them and then agree to disagree. So it's Saturday. It's the 25th of January. The only thing I was going to do this morning, work related, is get my script and do a quick review with the great notes that I received from my friend Seneca, and also some other thoughts that I've had of how to make it better. And I'm having a hard time building up the drive to do that. And so I'm pushing that to Monday and going to focus on scheduling next week. I'm going to take the time right now to schedule next week's activities to really hit the ground running Monday, to have a focus and things outlined. Like, these are the things I need to do next week, because there's so much that's happening. I could take one of those threads and spend the next 3 months doing it, but there's like 6 or 7 or 23 threads that I'm now following. And so knowing I'm pushing off my writing again and focusing on like the next little hour or so that I take to get next week organized and strategically planned out is going to be more beneficial than taking the time to write right now. So I'm going to push this writing to Monday. Even though I look back over the week and checked my log, I have 0 hours in writing this week. My goal for the year is to write 10 hours a week, and so that takes a hit. But I'm producing mine knowing what I'm doing, not making exceptions, I guess in a little way making exceptions for myself, but also knowing the consequences of that choice and decision. So that's where I'm at right now. The casting was supposed to start, I wanted to launch it this past week, on Monday. That didn't happen because I didn't have the assets ready, and I felt drawn to starting the fundraising, really hitting that hard, because right now there's 0 funding for this movie. And so I've pushed off casting. When I release casting, I'm hoping to get floods and floods and floods of people that are auditioning, because we want to reach out to all 300 tribally owned radio stations across the country to try to hit every reservation with a press release, getting them information of this is what's going on. And so I want it to be a big deal. And right now, if that happened, I think I would drown in that, me trying to handle this myself. So I'm just trying to build up something that I can collect when people are emailing, and we can respond in a timely manner, and really have that intent and focus on casting, where we're looking at those individuals and seeing if they're right for the part, or how can, just taking time to send back an email and giving them a tip or two of like, next time maybe this is something we would say improve on, or keep doing this, keep doing what you did was great. We just are going a different route with the look or with something that's not quite right. So or get a little bit more experience, audition, go have a couple other auditions, and come back on our next film. So wanting to have that interaction with the people that will take the time to audition. And so I'm not quite ready yet. I'm looking to push it till Monday, and even now talking through this, it's probably going to be pushed till the middle, and it might even need to wait until we release those auditions or start the auditions the following week. That's the battle right now, because I feel I'm committed to make this movie happen, and now it's a fight and a battle the quality level that it's going to be at. I know if I can bring somebody else to shoot it, that's going to raise the quality a little bit better, or a bunch more than where I would shoot it if I'm shooting it. And just look at those different departments like that. So that'll depend on the funding we get. So this past week I reached out to 12 of my friends, and then I'm reaching out to other institutions and organizations, and then next week I'm going to start that again, going a little more focused, with a little more blocking everything else out and focusing specifically on that. Really trying to create those win-win, as I talked about over and over again, those win-win opportunities, trying to find ways of what an institution, a person want to help the cause. Why would they want to help the cause if they believe in what we're doing? That's one, but there needs to be something more than that, something that institution is going to benefit from. So maybe it's a logo on the poster or something like that. I know we've talked about this on some of the previous ones. So that's probably, to be smart, is probably to push my casting even another week. In fact, I'm talking with you now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to push it out another week, because I still have some elements of casting that I need lined up. I need to fine tune that system, and then really focus hard on fundraising. We have some interest. I think there's some that are probably that just need to build up the courage to tell me no, which is fine. If it's not going to be a win-win, then I don't want to be involved with it. But if it is going to be a win-win, let's move forward and make it happen. So trying to find those, because I believe there's those individuals and communities and sovereign nations and institutions that are out there, are supporting what we're doing, or just don't know anything about us but would support our cause with trying to make positive family entertainment, is what it comes down to. So that's where that's at. I don't feel like I've shared much of why I'm going with this passion and drive to make this film. I haven't shared that with you, and yet you've seen, a couple hours or so of content that hasn't talked a lot about the why of doing it. You've seen a lot of the work that I'm doing, and why do I spend hours and hours and all my working life the past month focused on this film. And so the why is that this story, it resonates with me on a handful of levels. One, I have a love for the elders, our senior members, our grandmas and grandpas, our parents that are getting older. I have that special, I feel that connection within my soul, and that desire to learn what I can from them. And so that's what's rooted in my being of wanting to tell this story. I was in high school. My sister, I think, was a sophomore. I was a senior. And we had this old flatbed truck that my dad would let us drive. On the way home, we would pass my grandpa's house. My grandmother had passed away when I was 8. And so we would stop. He was getting older. He was starting to have some dementia. But my sister and I would stop 2 or 3 times a week on our way home, and just to visit with him and my step-grandma, just to let them know, hey, we care about you guys. We're there to see them. And of course, there was always a benefit of having some cake and ice cream, which was wonderful. And until one time I got a piece of cake that was a little moldy, and then we started just to check the cake or take the mold off before we ate it. But after that year, I went away on my mission for 2 years. And when I came back, my grandfather has Alzheimer's. And so he was around for a couple more years and then passed on. And he was the grandparent in my life that I was really more connected to. He lived closer, a couple miles closer, and just have connection. And so I've always felt within myself like a drive and a desire to need that kind of grandparent, that elderly connection in my life. And that's just come more of a realization lately, as I went to an aging conference here in Arizona and just saw that need. And I started to look back over my films and realize, like, all of my movies, I believe almost all of them there's a grandparent, there's a grandmother connection to them. You have Masana in Turquoise Rose, you have Che in Legends from the Sky, and Pete and Cleo, there's their mother figure that's there chasing them out to clean out the Hogan. And so there's those elements of grandparents that have kind of been threaded in my films without really me knowing why, and then looking at that and realizing that this film is right where my heart is at with, and what our relationship is with them, how we respect them, how we treat them, how we don't treat them, things we do or we shouldn't do or don't do and should do. What is our relationship with them? And I just see there's so many missed opportunities in my own life of spending more time with my grandparents growing up. And even now I do have a grandmother still. She's in another state, but trying to connect more with her when I am in the area or driving through. And just how do we spend time with them and let them know they still have worth, but then also all the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom, all those things that we can learn from them, and they need to be shared, and that there's still purpose for their lives. And so those are kind of some of the threads that are at the heart of this film for me. Is there's so much that person, that elder person, can still give back to the community, can still give back to the world, can give back to family and children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that there's still so much worth, so much value that can be passed in amongst those generations. That people that have seen things, seen times when cars were very limited, or there was still people that are around that still have the horse and buggy experience, versus then seeing all this technology to having these crazy phones that we can watch the world on moment by moment and all these little magic boxes. And so that's where I'm coming from with this story, is I hope that people will see it and will just reach out and connect more with those special elders, those special grandparents and parents that we still have in our life, or that we can go and go to an assisted living home or some of those other facilities, the senior centers, and just spend time to thank those that have went before us, and those shoulders that we now stand on, that stand on other shoulders to get to where we are as people, as humans. And there's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of loneliness in people's lives that maybe are at this stage of life where they have lived a good life, a successful life, have regrets, have dreams that were never accomplished. And what's it like to be that person that is still in your own home, you're alone, your 70s, 80s, 90s, but having regrets of life and still not feeling your worth, feeling their worth of wanting to contribute to society, and maybe not knowing how, or like, oh, nobody would benefit from anything here, but having so many opportunities in the world that are out there that really would have open arms that would allow somebody, an elder, to come over. Or how do we incorporate the elders back into our lives, into our culture that we share as a human people? That's some of my focus and connection with this film, with Touch the Water, is I want us to focus more and see the value that elders still have, and that there's still things we can learn that they went through. I can learn things that they went through that I won't need to go through, because I've learned those lessons that have been passed from them to me. And so I can make better choices, or just different things in life. There's so many things that our elders and grandparents and grandmothers and grandfathers and mothers and dads and people that can share with us. So I wanted to give you a little bit of my why for making this film. And I feel it's timely. I feel it's something that needs to get out there, and is a film that people will resonate with. This morning, as I was icing my knees from running, specifically, I was thinking about this film, and I've had some pushback already with people saying that, oh, it's really your lead in this film is an 80-year-old Native woman. Well, you need to get younger. It needs to be the lead needs to be a 20, 30-year-old female or 20, 30-year-old male to lead this film, and kind of push back on that. But just thinking, I imagine when it comes out of having kind of a marketing strategy of getting people, when they come to this film, to bring a grandmother, to bring a mother, to bring a grandfather, a father, to bring somebody, an elder in their life, to bring that person with them to the theater. One is just to have that excuse to spend 2 hours with somebody that you love and maybe you don't show appreciation to as much as you should. And maybe there's a lot of our elders that don't go to the movies often because there's not a lot of films that are for them that they would enjoy and could spark some conversations on the drive home and just connect with that grandparent. And so I think that's going to be kind of a marketing drive or campaign, is to bring an elder with you, to bring somebody that usually maybe doesn't go to the movies, to pay for their ticket, to bring them to the screening of this film. And I think I'm going to grab that and try to, however you strategize a marketing campaign, I just know those terms, those lingo words, then how to actually do that and get that so that becomes a big part of the marketing campaign. And for one thing is because it would really be beneficial for our focused audience, our targeted audience, to come and watch that film. And I think as the younger generation comes as well, there's going to be a connection there as well. So because there's always some film, we're going to be competing with the next Avenger film. We're going to be competing with all the, we get free release in October, November, all the big holiday, all the big tentpole movies. That's the main time to release in the year. And so here's going to be little of us trying to fight for screen time. And if we can get a good turnout and get really focused on our audience of who the film's made for attending, then I think that's where the power will be, and that will give us the legs. That one screen that we open on will then turn to 6 screens, will then turn to 12, will then turn to 18, to 36, and will grow exponentially. I want to say my goal is to hit 500 theaters, so which is outrageous to me in my mind right now, and how do you even work all that together to make that happen? But here I am, going to jump in now and focus on the calendaring for next week. and just come up with those goals for the end of the week. I want to be here at such and such a point. And I also want to give one shout out to my mom. I went back and reviewed a few of the series, and it's always me, same background, just staring at the camera, and so my mom made me this blanket for Christmas. I thought I'd change it up a little bit today and put some extra work into the production value of this and put her quilts up. So amazing woman, very talented. Grateful for my mother and all the women and men in my life that have helped me to be better and are still being patient with me to try to make shorter YouTube videos. But thanks for following. Continue to follow the journey 2020, and I'll see you on the next one.